Hey guys, today we're making something that would be great for when guests come over. This is a spinach and artichoke dip. Let's get started. In the largest pan that you can find, I'm using my cast iron pan, or you could use a big saucepan if you'd like. I'm going to put in some olive oil, and at first I thought I put in way too much olive oil, but this actually ended up working pretty well for me. I'm going to put in a whole bunch of fresh spinach. This is 10 ounces of spinach, and I'm using the entire bag here. I'm also adding a pinch of salt, and what's great about the salt is that it's going to help release some of the moisture in the spinach, which means it's going to cook a lot faster. I'm cooking this over medium heat, don't worry, it's not going to burn, and yes, some of it will fall off. That happened to me a couple of times, and it looks like there's a lot here, and yes, there is, but because of that salt and because it's going to break down quickly, you will see that it will actually shrink, and it's actually a lot easier to stir now. You will also see that the color has changed. It went from a very bright vibrant green to a much darker green. I would say you're done at this point, but you're not. You can see all that water still. Just keep cooking until all of that water evaporates, and once it does, the spinach is done, but now it's time to add some chopped garlic. We're using 3 cloves here. I want it to have a fresh garlicky taste to it. And once we add it to our spinach, we're just going to cook it until it becomes a little bit browned. You don't want it to get too brown because in the end this is going to go into the oven anyway and it's going to continue cooking. And once you do see the garlic start to brown, that means it's time to turn off the heat, put this to the side, and we're going to talk about our artichokes while this cools off. When it came to choosing artichokes, I was debating between either canned or jarred. I decided to go with canned because usually it's just sitting in water and salt rather than being marinated, and I like to be in control of what goes into my food rather than using a product that already has a bunch of ingredients in it. As you can see, I poured all of the water out of the can, and now I'm dumping all of the artichokes onto a cutting board. I'm just going to take a chef's knife and I'm just going to chop them up until I get little bite-sized pieces. And that's the thing when it comes to dips. You don't want big, huge chunks of anything. You want everything to be pretty much even. But the hard part is pretty much done, so now it's time to make the rest of the dip, which is going to be super easy. In a large bowl, I'm going to put in some cream cheese that's been softened. I had this sitting on the counter for about an hour, and you want this to be softened because if you use it right out of the fridge, it's going to be very, very hard to work with, so make sure it is at room temperature. I'm now adding sour cream, and then I'm going to add our spinach, garlic, and olive oil. Next are the chopped artichoke hearts. And once that's all in there, go ahead and take a wooden spoon, or you can even use an electric mixer, but I feel like this is a lot easier and less of a cleanup. I'm literally just folding everything together until everything looks evenly distributed. And then next I'm shredding my own Monterey Jack cheese. You can use any type of cheese that you want, but I like the Monterey Jack because it melts very well. And then I'm also adding some freshly grated Parmesano Regiano. And I'm going to fold that in as well. And even though the Parmesano Reggiano added a nice saltiness to this, you do want to add some more salt and pepper. Just make sure you taste it as you go. You don't want it to be too salty. And if there's any other spices you want to add to this, go for it, like paprika or even cayenne pepper. I decided not to do anything like that. I'm just going to keep this plain and simple. I'm glad I tasted it because I actually did need more salt. So yeah, like I said, just taste as you go. In a medium-sized baking dish that I greased with olive oil, I'm going to pour in all of my dip and just go ahead and spread out the top of it. It is going to be rather thick, but do not worry because once it comes out of the oven, it's going to be nice and melty, but we will get to that in just a little bit. The top of this is looking perfect, but we're not done yet. Just when you thought there was enough cheese, we're going to add a little bit more Monterey Jack to the very top. Once the rest of your cheese is spread on, this is going to go into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 25 to 30 minutes. And after 25 to 30 minutes, go ahead and turn on the broiler for about 1 minute or even less. Just keep an eye on it. You do not want it to burn. This will make the top very nice and crusty. And as you can see, it is a light golden brown and it's perfect. I have a baguette that I bought from my local supermarket. I'm just going to take a bread knife and cut them diagonally. And the reason why I'm slicing them like this is so that I have maximum dippage. Those pointed ends are going to make things a lot easier for us. On a baking sheet lined with tinfoil, I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on top, and I'm just going to spread this around with my hand. You can use a pastry brush if you prefer. And once that's all done, we're going to take every single slice of baguette and we're just going to line them up evenly on our tray. Once again, I'm going to take some olive oil and give a light drizzle on top, and this is going to go back into that 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 5 to 10 minutes. This is going to be very quick, very fast. It's going to become very crispy. This will give the perfect amount of time for your dip to slightly cool. Speaking of which, I think it's finally time to give this a taste. I'm going to take one of my crostinis and get right in there, and as you can see, the top is very cheesy. This is every cheese lover's dream. I know it's mine because I love cheese. This is still pretty hot, so I already know I'm going to burn the roof of my mouth, but at this point I don't care. I just wanted that taste, and I can really taste the garlic. That spinach is great. It's creamy. It's perfect. It has just the right amount of salt and pepper, and I'm definitely making this again in the future because this was just delicious. Make this for a party. Make this for game night. Make this for your family. It is a great, great appetizer. Alright guys, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.